Hello and welcome to Euphoria. This channel explores designing, creating and building models for a Lego city. We will be exploring the joys and challenges of building official Lego sets, making modifications to them, and designing and making your own buildings and other models. In this short series of videos, we're going to explore the sorting out and laying out of Lego parts ready for a build. Keep watching to find out how to do that. In part 1, we covered what is meant by knolling, and we looked at the benefits of sorting out and laying out your Lego in this way when building your Lego models. In this video, which is part 2, we're going to cover 10 practical steps in the process of knolling. The art of sorting and arranging things in a regular layout is called knolling. It isn't confined to Lego and can be used for lots of different things, from parts to tools to fashion items to desktop accessories. You see it quite often in catalogues, magazine articles and advertisements. I like to sort out and lay out all the Lego elements for a build before I start the actual construction. It can be time consuming, but it can have lots of advantages. The art of knolling is to lay out the parts in a way that is both visually appealing and practically useful. The reason that it's an art is that there isn't just one way to do it, and there isn't a best result. So you can choose how to lay out your parts yourself. However, here are 10 steps that I use when knolling my Lego. Step 1. Find a place to lay your parts out. Try to find somewhere with a large, smooth, flat surface. This should be clean and not be dusty or dirty, otherwise you'll be making your parts dusty or dirty as well. Although it could be the floor, that's probably not the safest place, so a table, a desk or other work surface is probably best. Bear in mind that this is probably where you're going to make your Lego set, so you might need that space for some time. Try to negotiate the use of the space before you start, or you might get annoyed by having to move everything halfway through. Step 2. Good lighting will help you to identify parts and lay them out, and to refer to instructions if required. Daylight is free, so a position by a window can be great if you have a good window and if you're working during the day. But remember that sunlight can fade your Lego, so a good work light also helps. Step 3. Consider using the larger Lego base plates to lay out your elements. This makes it really easy to lay out parts in a regular pattern, and it may mean that you can move if you need to. Step 4. Choose how you want to deal with different colours and shapes. Some people like to sort and lay out their parts by colour, that is, put similar coloured parts together. Personally, I prefer to sort by shape because it's easier to lay them out, and the human eye is quite good at picking out colours, so you don't need to use the physical layout to identify the colours. I guess if you're colourblind, it might be different. Step 5. Group similar sizes and shapes of parts together. That makes it easy to find them when you need them, or to put them back in the right place if you need to. I tend to organise my parts into bricks and plates sections. That is, any parts that are 1 brick high or more I will put in the bricks section, and any parts that are less than 1 brick high, such as plates and tiles, I will put in the plates section. Then, if there are any special parts, such as wheels or curves, I may put these in their own section. Step 6. Then, within each section, I will sort by size, starting with the smallest parts at only 1 stud by 1 stud, then parts 1 stud by 2 studs, then 1 by 3, etc. Generally, I will arrange by area, So a 2x3 stud part is 6 studs altogether and would go with 1x6s. Although I do sometimes sort by all the 1x something parts, then all the 2x something parts. This can make it easier when building things like walls where you need lots of 1x parts. Step 7. Lay your parts out in straight lines or in regularly laid out groups perpendicular to the edges of your work surface or base plate. Step 8. Orient the same parts the same way round. That means they face the same way, and usually with the most identifying feature towards you or towards the side. That makes it easy to see what the parts are and to see the ones that are different shapes. Step 9. Deal with any unusual parts that don't fit into your pattern, such as wheels or curves. I may put these in their own section, or you may just need to put them onto one side. Step 10. Be prepared to reorganize things slightly if you find that you haven't left enough space for some parts or you want to regroup them. How do you deal with all the parts that come in those Lego bags, or ones that don't fit within your lovely regular layout? Well, remember this is an art, not a science, and you're doing it to help yourself, not get yourself in a twist. So here are a couple of ways of dealing with bags and other complications. If you're following the instructions provided with a Lego set, there may be several bags, because there are hundreds or even thousands of parts. In this case, just empty the first bag and lay out the parts from that bag. Sometimes there are small bags which contain the smaller parts inside the numbered bag. I tend to open these and lay the small parts out as well, so they're ready to be used when you need them. Then you can build the first stage of the model using the instructions. If the set isn't too big, you could empty all the bags first and lay them out before starting the build, and that allows you to check that you've got all the parts. Remember that the Lego instruction booklets provide a graphical listing of all the parts at the end of the instructions. When you're dealing with a very big set with thousands of parts, deal with them a bag at a time. Or deal with a set of numbered bags, say all the bags numbered 1 at a time. Lego instructions usually tell you which bags to open to create the next part of the model. Unfortunately, Lego instructions don't tell you what each numbered bag contains, so that means you can't check that you have all the parts for the next stage of the build. But it does mean that you have less parts to deal with at each stage, and you will soon know if you've done something wrong because you won't have the right parts. It is unusual for Lego to get things wrong, although it does happen, but I've found it's more often me that gets things wrong, which is why I like to familiarise myself with the parts before I start. Sometimes I get bags that are not mixed bags, but contain a number of the same parts. This sometimes happens when you are ordering from independent suppliers, particularly if you have ordered quantities of the same part. If I'm just checking the order and cataloguing the elements rather than using them straight away, it can be useful just to leave them in their bags. In effect, then, I lay the parts out in their bags so that I can see what I've got and check quantities. Most elements can be knolled in some way. Even wheels, plates, cogs, arches, etc. can be laid out in some sort of pattern. For larger items like base plates, I will tend not to knoll these, as these take up a lot of space. Instead, I just lay them to one side. For other larger items like building plates, if I have a larger quantity of these, it may be useful just to stack them on top of one another to save space. Some of the same benefits apply when you're building in a computer-aided design program such as Lego Digital Designer or Studio. It is useful for the same reasons that laying out the parts physically is useful. It means you can drag and drop the parts easily into the build without looking through the parts menu for the parts and colours that you need. I use this method when I'm creating builds of existing sets, or making a digital representation of my own physical builds, or using limited types or numbers of bricks. For example, when I know that I've only got so many of a certain type of brick. I tend not to knoll parts when I'm free building in a digital design program, because I don't have any restrictions on the numbers or colours or shapes that I use. I just tend to pick the parts I need from the parts menu or copy similar parts that I already have in the build. Then I have to count up the parts I've used later on. I hope that gives you some insight into the art of knolling and how I sort out and lay out my Lego parts ready for a build. You may be able to see more examples of sorting out and laying out parts in my other videos. Don't get too hung up with getting it perfect, unless you're actually making a work of art. The idea is to lay the components of a build out in a way that is going to help you. That may mean that you don't need to follow all these steps, or the result may not be dead straight and perfect. The main thing is to enjoy the process. If it gets to be annoying, don't do it. What do you think about knolling? Is it a useful discipline or a complete waste of time? Are there any techniques, tips or tricks that you use? Please let me know in the comments below. If you still can't see the point, please look at part 1 of this series, where we explore the benefits of sorting out and laying out your Lego ready for a build. If you liked this video, please hit the like button and let me know why. If you didn't like this video, please also let me know why. Thanks for watching. Please let me know what you think and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos about Lego modular buildings.